Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Yes, we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1.
Welcome back, Fins family, to another episode of Fins in the Sea. It is Jeremiah Hensley, lovingly known as JFrog817 on all of your socials. Your favorite amphibian swimming in a pot of dolphins. Here, once again, to bring you an episode of Fins in the Sea, brought to you by the great folks at FL Teams. FLTeams.com covers all things Florida sports, any and all things that you could ever want to see. College, through the professionals. It's a crazy time of the year. Basketball is getting started. Hockey's getting started. The NFL is getting to that point where we're grinding through college football, moving toward the end. All sorts of great things going on. All things that can be caught on FLTeams.com. Make sure you go over and check them out. We're also doing a ton of great stuff, live shows, bringing you power rankings on Wednesday nights with myself and the great Jeff Macalino. Along with some special guests along the way there. And we've got some great future plans set up too. So can't say enough good things about FL Teams, what they do, what they give us an opportunity to do, and I'm happy to be here to do that. Now, this week's Fins in the Sea, we're going to have a word of the week, okay? Our word of the week is perspective. It's perspective, Dolphins fans. This has been a roller coaster year. We talked about it. I talked about it early on that I didn't want to get too high or too low. I've been trying to keep myself in the middle. I got dangerously close to a real high peak after we beat the Buffalo Bills. That was a big, big win. So, look, we started 3-0. We're now 3-3. Perspective. That looks like, wow, out of the gate must have had cupcakes. Now we're seeing the real thing. Okay? Perspective. We have beaten the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, the New England Patriots. We have lost to the Cincinnati Bengals, the Minnesota Vikings, and the New York Jets. Now, that Jets loss at first looked bad. But when we look at this, the New York Jets are playing great football. You can't underestimate what they're doing and how Robert Saleh has got them performing. So that's not a bad loss. Cincinnati's your reigning AFC champions. Not a bad loss. Minnesota's 4-1. Not a bad loss. Now, here's where the perspective comes in. In each of the last 4 games, the Dolphins, last 3, my fault. The Dolphins' starting quarterback has not finished the game. Whoever we put out as a starter for the last 3 weeks against your defending AFC champions, 4-1 Minnesota Vikings, and the now resurgent New York Jets. Whoever started those games at quarterback did not finish. Football's a team sport. There's 11 on each side, and I get that, but quarterback is so, so important. And it's not just having the backups in, it's how it's happened with that, okay? Being that, we go into the Cincinnati game, of course, horrible injury, the concussion, Teddy Bridgewater comes in. Bridgewater, that should have been the most respectable sort of backup that we've seen play through what we've seen play through, okay? Then we come to the Jets. Teddy Bridgewater gets a week worth of snaps with the starters, trying to get everything with continuity. First play, he gets concussed. Now here comes Skylar Thompson, 7th round draft pick, 3rd string quarterback, not expecting to play. Here comes Skylar. So he does his best to get through that. Okay. Then he has a week to prepare to get ready for the Minnesota Vikings. And for the first half, as long as Skylar was in there, the offense was moving. We shot ourselves in the foot. We'll get to that point in a moment. But he was moving the ball, doing well. Teddy Bridgewater, still coming out of concussion protocol, didn't get a lot of practice time during the week. Skylar hurts his thumb, here comes Teddy. So it's not just about having the backups in, it's about how it's happened. The backups with very little prep throughout the week, then getting stuck into this position. And some of these look ugly. got it. You look at the Jets score, looks ugly. Look at the Vikings score. Nah, right? Here's the deal. Both of those games, the Miami Dolphins were in it in the fourth quarter with a legitimate chance to take the lead. Don't know what's going on with Jason Sanders. Multiple 50-yard misses. I feel like this guy used to be automatic. I don't know. Over 50 has been brutal. So, we got to do something about that. Pardon the yawn, early morning. So, perspective. The Dolphins were in those games. And had a chance in the fourth quarter to win. You go to the Jets game, it got really out of hand at the end. We missed the field goal. And then the next two times, the Jets end up starting at our 5 and our 25, and they score touchdowns. And it looks like it's a huge blowout. It wasn't. If you look on paper, it'll say it. If you watch the game, it wasn't. We didn't tackle well in that game. We missed a lot of open field tackles. We didn't cover running backs well in that game. There were a lot of things that were really bad in that game. The continuity of the offense, all those things. So we get to last week with the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of good, when we're talking perspective, comes out of this. Yeah, it's a loss, and a loss hurts. Nobody's happy with a loss. Got it. But here's the thing. We did see that Skylar Thompson can perform when he has time to prepare. The offensive line is still being shuffled. That's not a good thing. What we found out, if we're going back to perspective, let's piece this together. We found out that if we lean on Raheem Mostert, that we can get production from Raheem Mostert. He's showing the ability to be a number one running back as long as we can commit to that and keep that moving. The defense. Defense looked awful against the Jets. Awful. But we come into Minnesota, and the defense looked pretty awesome. For the first time, we were getting pressure. We were making Kirk Cousins uncomfortable, and an uncomfortable Kirk Cousins is my favorite kind of Kirk Cousins. And so we got pressure. Jalen Phillips showed up. You saw Agba show up. Christian Wilkins playing fantastic. I don't think that guy gets nearly enough credit for what he does for the Miami Dolphins. So the defense stepped up and played better. Bottled up Dalvin Cook pretty much the whole game. And, look, X got beat on a couple of routes. It feels like that's happening more and more this season. But again, he's on an island over there. And if we're not getting pressure when you're one-on-one, I don't care how good you are, eventually you're going to give something up, especially to guys like Justin Jefferson. So I'm not really beating him up on that. We give up one big run to Dalvin Cook. I feel like that was a momentum shift thing. We talk about playing complimentary football. We give the ball back. We miss that field goal. It feels like, again, here we go again sort of deal. I think the defense was a little deflated, and Minnesota took that chance, and Dalvin Cook made us pay for it. He's a guy like that. One move, one missed tackle, and he'll make you pay. And he did. So, congrats to them. We come back, and Teddy started getting comfortable, right? And as he got more comfortable, then we started seeing people show up, right? We saw Mike Gesicki, right, for the first time in forever. We saw Tyreek and, of course, Jalen Waddle get involved again. Here's the deal. That fumble hurt in the fourth quarter. We were driving with a chance to take the lead. Teddy was moving. Everything was looking good. Something was going on with Juice. I don't know what it was. But here's, again, perspective. Did he fumble? Sure thing he did. He fumbled trying to make a big play. It was an effort fumble, right? It wasn't just hey, I'm ducking my head down here and I lost the ball. So you got to, again, get your head wrapped around it that, it was an effort play, and he'll step back up and make many more for us that turn out positive. This one didn't. So, so we talk about the games in that perspective. Our schedule should be a little easier from here, right? Pittsburgh, they beat Tampa, but I don't think Tampa's Tampa. So Pittsburgh coming up to kind of get that right. Tua should be back starting, getting some continuity. More importantly, this team can come back to normal. The Tua Tagovailoa injury did way more than just affect us on the field. Way more. It affected everything. It affected preparation. It affected practice. It affected locker room. It affected media. It affected everything. It became all-consuming to gather this knowledge, all consuming to keep digging and prodding and probing and everything else. I watched the press conferences throughout the weeks, and half of the press conferences spent with Mike McDaniel being asked about concussion protocol, what the game plan is, what you're going to do. And I love Mike McDaniel. Last Friday, he started his press conference with the local media where he's like, hey, all right, guys, I'm going to try something different here. Just stick with me. Okay, it's a little crazy. It's a little out there. But what if for today, for the first time all week, we talk about the Minnesota Vikings? And of course, they made some joke about it and asked him concussion questions. That affects this team. First year coach, young coach, has everything going the way 3-0. Tragically, football's football. Tua gets hurt. Now, did McDaniel put him back in? Did they follow the protocol? So now a guy who's 3-0, building, getting the team, everything's going well. Boom, injury happens. Now spotlight is, who are you off the field? What did you do? Did you push this? Did that happen? Did this happen? And now he's losing confidence. He can't, I don't care who you are, you can't not. He's got to be double thinking your decisions. What are we doing? That bleeds to the locker room. There was a little bit of the locker room, Tyreek Hill taking the ping pong table away. Was it for motivation? No, he was going to get him a new one. I get all that. I do think the Dolphins are very talented. I think we've got a long season to go. I think, again, there's no reason to panic. I think perspective, again, says we didn't lose to Carolina. We didn't lose to Houston, okay? We didn't lose to Washington, Chicago, Jacksonville. We didn't do that, okay? We lost to teams that should be in the top 10 in the NFL in any kind of power rankings that you're going to look at this week. And we beat two teams that are hovering, in that top 5 to 8. So this Dolphins team can be very dangerous given the right circumstances and coming back together. So I think Tua coming back is that next big step. The defense took a step, and Boyer stepped up and owned it on what we're doing. Corner has been a big issue. The way the Dolphins defense works, anybody who's watched it and seen it, is we have two good corners, put them on an island, pin your ears back, disguise your blitz. That's how it's worked. So X is still there. Byron Jones is at least another week before he's coming off IR. Nick Needham was playing really well, and now he's gone for the year with an Achilles injury. We talked about positives. I'm going to rewind. Let's go back over to that Minnesota game. Noah Igbenogany got in the game, and real-time game action, not preseason. Dolphin fans, we know the name Noah well. He was drafted high for something that we thought his expectation that simply weren't being met. And when Noah first came on, they picked on him, and they did well. Noah played well in the second half of that game. Noah made some really nice plays, and I think there's a good ball player underneath there. So when you talk about next man up, they're going to step up, what's it going to be? Maybe giving Noah this chance, maybe he's grown. I mean, he's been given a hell of a many chances in Miami. So maybe he's had the opportunity to grow into where he can be productive and help us at least for a week until we get Byron Jones back. Brandon Jones has been playing well, Holland playing well. The defense came alive. So, again, that was another positive from the Minnesota game. The negative is this, man. It's happened all year. As much as we come to find out about Flores after he left, and it can change your feelings, there's one thing that you can absolutely, no one can argue with. Brian Flores ran a disciplined team. We weren't penalized very much at all. They were very disciplined in everything that they did. Maybe behind the scenes, how he got there was a little shaky. I don't know, but he got there. This team's not. The first two drives against Minnesota were well within field goal range, moving the ball. At one point inside the 20, and 4 consecutive penalties put us back to the 50. And you cannot win games like that. And what ends up happening when you're not disciplined and you're making mistakes in big places that are affecting this ball game and this outcome, be it a false start, an illegal movement, too many men on the field we've had. It's a lot of holding, encroachment, holding in the back on the pass, on the corners, pass interference. There's been so many that are just Look, it's a game of football. You can call a penalty on every play. I get it. But these are so undisciplined in the way that they've acted that it's really affecting us on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. So that lack of attention to detail, that lack of discipline really worries me. We're going to have to see what that is, moving forward. I would hope that the coaching staff sees what we see. Probably better, right? They should. That's their job. And they got to know that it's a problem and we have to fix it. Hopefully, Teron Armstead will be back. That's another thing. You're playing without that anchor. So, look, to put a pretty little bow on it, Dolphin fans, it's real simple, right? Like, this team is good. They're competitive. We've shown we can play with the best in the league, in the Buffaloes, the Baltimores. We've shown that. We lost our leader. And when we lost our leader, whether you're Tuanon, you hate him, you love him, whatever, he's our leader. When we lost our leader, we go 0-3. And then it's like a backup quarterback shuffle because whoever starts doesn't finish the game on each of those games. So we've been going through a lot of turmoil and still staying close. This Miami Dolphin team, I still believe, is closer to the team that we saw in the first 3 weeks than we have in the past 3 weeks. So I'm going to go positives again. Because of those weeks and without having Tua, we got game time for Teddy. We got game time for Skylar. The defense understood and knew they had to step up, so they did. We started to rely a little more on the run with Mostert, so we did. So there's positives to be gleaned from this situation. Perspective. We're not jumping off the cliff. Okay, we're also not celebrating and waving around, a championship trophy. Right, we're not doing any of that. The only thing we can do as fans is continue to support this team, continue to support Mike McDaniel vocally. I love it when I'm watching the games when we're at home and you can hear it. It's unbelievable. It's great. We haven't had that in a while. That stadium is sold out for the first time in forever, and we need to be loud and proud and make this team hear us on what we're doing, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of talent here, and there's a lot of football left. A lot of football, okay? So let's just steady ourselves, get back in, take a deep breath, realize not the end of the world. 3 up, 3 down. If I'd have looked at the schedule at the beginning of the year again, prior to seeing the Dolphins in the Bills game and the Baltimore game, and I saw 3-3 after those 6 games, I could have rationalized that we lose to Baltimore, we lose to Buffalo, we lose to Cincinnati. There's the 3. And we win the other 3. And I'd have said, all right, 3-3. We split them coming out. Still a tough schedule. We're okay. Those first couple of weeks gave us Dolphin fans very high hopes and expectations. And once again, the talking heads on TV jumped on and fueled that fire. Where are they going to go? Super Bowl, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we're early in the season. So we all rode that to get high. Tua gets hurt, boom, goes down. We're not up here. We're not down here. We're still right here. Perspective is this is a good team with some tweaks and things that need to be made. It looks like McDaniel and his staff do a very good job of that. So that's what we're counting on. And hopefully that all comes together. And we continue to get better in this part of the schedule where we have an area where we can make a run and get right. So that's what I'm looking for this Sunday, a get-right game. Pittsburgh is always Pittsburgh. They're tough, but this is a get-right game. Tua coming back, right? The line needs to step up, make sure they're giving him time to do what we need to do. I think Tua wants to come back and prove because people are telling him he should never play football again. I think it's a prove-it game for him. Really excited about the opportunity or the possibility of what goes down in that game. So it's going to tell us a lot about the character of this team. Every time I again watch the media availability, see videos in the locker room, it doesn't look like a team who's torn up. They look like a team who's completely understanding that a football season is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And it's about getting good, getting right at the right time. Cincinnati taught us that last year. Cincinnati in the regular season was back and forth, back and forth. Getting right at the right time makes all the difference. And I have faith and complete confidence that this Dolphins team can do that. So come aboard with me. We ain't jumping off cliffs. We ain't celebrating. We're just going to keep playing football hard and fix the little mistakes that we have. I feel confident that's going to happen. Looking forward to this Sunday. So with that, I'm going to wrap you guys up let you know again, jump over to FL Teams Live. We may have something super duper special for you on Sunday. We're working on it. Young Goat and I and a couple folks are trying to pull something together for you. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Wednesday night, of course, is always the Power Rankings review. Myself, Jeff McElino from the Bolts and Bats podcast, as well as a tremendous stand-up comedian, actor. He's a modern-day Renaissance man. Check out Jeff's stuff, Jeff McElino's show, and check out all the stuff on FL Teams. Really had a lot of great previews, reaction videos, all that good stuff. Any and all Florida sports news, that's where you want to go. It's not just news, it's entertainment. So come join us. We'd love to have you along. With that, it's your boy, J Frog. I'm going to say out. You guys, don't forget, water's fine. Come on in. Swim around. These Dolphins ain't going anywhere. They're going to trudge through this year. I think, again, stay positive. Stay hopeful. Keep giving them the support that you can if you're local. Okay? Us who aren't local, we count on you to bring that noise. And you're doing a hell of a job of it. We really appreciate it. With that, I'm going to say it like we always do to each other on our ways passing, good, bad, indifferent, to every Miami Dolphin fans out there. Fins up. I'll see you guys next week.